It was almost night now. A dove's wings whistled over the water. George walked to the fire pile and lighted the dry leaves. The flames cracked up along the twigs and fell to work. George undid his bindle and brought out 3 cans of beans. He stood them about the fire, close in against the blaze, but not quite touching the flame. "There's enough beans here for 4 men," George said. Lenny watched him from over the fire. He said patiently, "I like 'em with ketchup." "Well, I ain't got any," George exploded. "And whenever we ain't got, that's what you want. God Almighty, if I was alone, I could live so easy. I could get a job and work, no trouble, no mess at all. And when the end of the month come, I could take my 50 bucks and go to town and get whatever I want. Why, I could stay in a cat house all night. I could eat any place I want, hotel or any place, and order any damn thing I could think of. And I could do that every damn month. Get a gallon of whiskey or sit in a pool room and play cards or shoot pool." Lenny knelt and looked over at the fire at the angry George, and Lenny's face was drawn with terror. "And what I got," George went on furiously, "I got you. You can't keep a job. You lose me every job I ever get. You just keep shoving me all over the country all the time, and that ain't the worst. You get in trouble. You do bad things, and I got to get you out." His voice nearly rose to a shout. "You crazy son of a bitch. You keep me in hot water all the time." He took on the elaborate manner of little girls when they're mimicking one another. "Just wanted to feel that girls just dress. I just wanted to pet it like a mouse." "Well, how the hell did she know you was just wanting to feel her dress? You know, she jerks back and you hold on to her like she's a mouse. And she yells, 'We gotta hide in an irrigation ditch all day with guys looking for us. And we gotta sneak out in the dark and get out of the country all the time. It's all the time, something like that all the time. I wish I could just put you in a cage with about 1,000,000 mice. Let you have fun." His anger left him suddenly. He looked across the fire at Lenny's anguished face, and then he looked ashamedly at the flames. It was quite dark now, but the fire lit the trunks of the trees and the curving branches overhead. Lenny crawled slowly and cautiously around the fire until he was close to George. He sat back on his heels. George turned the bean can so that the other side faced the fire. He pretended to be unaware of Lenny so close beside him. "George," very softly. No answer. "George." What do you want?" "I was only fooling." "George, I don't want no ketchup. I wouldn't eat no ketchup if it was right here beside me. Well, if it was here, you could have some. But I wouldn't eat none, George. I'd leave it all for you. You could cover your beans with it and I wouldn't touch nothing." George still stared morosely at the fire. "When I think of that swell time I could have without you, I go nuts. You know, I just never get no peace." Lenny still knelt. He looked off into the darkness across the river. "George, you want I should go away and leave you alone?" "Where the hell would you go?" "Well, I could, you know, I could go off into the hills there, and someplace I'd find a cave." "Oh, yeah? How'd you eat? You ain't got enough sense to find nothing to eat." "Oh, I'd find things, George. I don't need no nice food with ketchup. Well, I'd lay out in the sun and nobody'd hurt me, and if I found a mouse, I could keep it. And nobody'd take it away from me." George looked quickly and searchingly at him. "I've been mean, ain't I? If you don't want me, I can go off in the hills or find a cave. I can go away anytime." "No, look, I was just fooling, Lenny, because you want you to stay with me. Trouble with mice is you always kill them." He paused. I'll tell you what I'll do. Lenny, first chance I get, I'm gonna give you a pup. Maybe you wouldn't kill it. That'd be better than mice, and you could pet it harder." Lenny avoided the baby. He sensed he had his advantage. "If you don't want me, it's only, you just gotta say so. I'll go off in those hills right there, up in those hills and live by myself, and I won't get no mice stolen from me." George said, "I want you to stay with me, Lenny. Jesus Christ, somebody'd shoot you for a coyote if you was by yourself. No, look, stay with me. Your Aunt Clara wouldn't like you off running by yourself, even if she is dead." Lenny spoke craftily. "Tell me like you know." "Tell you about what?" "About the rabbits." George snapped. "You ain't gonna put nothing over on me. Lenny, please, come on, George. Tell me, please, George, like you done before. You get a kick out of that, don't you? All right, well, I'll tell you. Then we'll eat our supper." George's voice became deeper. He repeated his words rhythmically, as though he had said them many times before. Guys like us that work on ranches are the loneliest guys in the world. They got no family, and they don't belong no place. They come to a ranch and work up steak, and then they got to go to town and blow their steak, and the first thing you know, they're pounding their tail on some other ranch. They ain't got nothing to look ahead to. Now, Lenny was delighted. That's it. Now tell how it is with us. George went on. Well, with us, it ain't like that. We got a future. We got somebody to talk to that gives a damn about us. We don't have to sit in no bar room blowing our jack just because we got no place else to go. Them other guys get in jail, they can rot for all anybody gives a damn, but not us. Lenny broke in, but not us. And why? Because I got you to look after me, and you got me to look after you. That's why. He laughed at Lenny. You go on, George. You got a firearm. You can do it yourself. No, you. I forget some of the things, but you tell me how it's going to be. Okay, someday we're going to get the jack together, and we're going to have a little house and a couple of acres and a cow and some pigs, and live off the fat of the land. Then he shouted, and have rabbits. Go on, George. Tell about what we're going to have in the garden, and about the rabbits in the cages, and about the rain in the winter, and the stove, and how thick the cream is on the milk, like you can hardly cut it. Tell about that, George. Why don't you do it yourself? You know all the... No, you tell it. Ain't the same if I tell. Go on, George. How I get to tend the rabbits. Well, George said, we'll have a big vegetable patch, and a rabbit hutch, and chickens. And when it rains in the winter, we'll just say the hell with going to work, and we'll build up a fire in the stove, and sit around it and listen to the rain coming down on the roof. Nuts. And he took out his pocket knife. I ain't got time for no more. He drove his knife through the top of one of the bean cans and sawed out the top, passed a can to Lenny. Then he opened a second can. From his side pocket, he brought out 2 spoons, passed one of them to Lenny. They sat by the fire and filled their mouths with beans and chewed mightily. A few beans slipped out of the side of Lenny's mouth. George gestured with his spoon. What are you going to say tomorrow when the boss asks you questions? Lenny stopped chewing and swallowed. His face was concentrated. I ain't going to say a word.